I'm so excited. I am so happy it's Friday. I am like stupid excited it's Friday. Oh, look, I'm live. I should tell people about that. Woo! Look, I'm watching myself. It's awesome. Hey, y'all. I am so happy it's Friday. It's so good to see you. Becky! Oh my God! I am so happy to see you, Miss Becky! Yay! I'm having a dance party for a minute while people join us. You know what I mean? Yay! It's Friday! It's so exciting! Your musical selection brought to you by Naked Aggression, who always lets me use their music, which makes me happy because Naked Aggression totally rocks. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Becky Drayden, I love you so much. Did you see that you made it on a meme that I made? Your quote about my fabulous workshop, Fanning the Flames, made it on one of my pictures on my page, Becky. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but you should tell people about how famous you are now that you're on my page because you're awesome. And I love you. I am super deliciously thrilled to be here with you and not be traveling for half a minute because that's nice. It's nice to be at home with my things. And so I'm super happy to be here. I'm super happy it's Friday. I just actually saw this whole, yeah, go find it. It's so awesome, Becky. You're going to love it. And then you can share it with everyone and be like, listen, this woman has the most kick-ass workshop ever and it's online and you should totally get it. Anyway, yeah, go find it. It's awesome. I'm so excited. We have a state of the emergency happening right now, today in America, 2019, right now. State of emergency, super exciting. If you're here, let me know that you're here, because otherwise I have no idea that you're here. I just see the little eyeball that says 3, but I actually don't know who you are, which is fun. It's one of those fun algorithm things. Yay, Becky! So I have decided, because I've been getting all these amazing messages from people who have been saying to me, Missy Bird, we need to know more about your backstory. So I have had friends who, and I have heard this from so many people who are like, we simultaneously love and admire you and are terrified of you. So we need you to tell us more of your story. So I decided, after several of my friends were like, Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, we need to know who you were before Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD. And we want to know that you are as human as we are. And so I was like, okay. So I wanted to talk to everyone a little bit about my imposter syndrome. Because as you all know, we all have imposter syndrome. And we all experience imposter syndrome. And so I really wanted to take some time to chat with you about what that looks like. Shelly Clayton, badass Shelly Clayton. How are you, darling? It's so nice to see you. I'm going to share that I'm live on Facebook because I want people to know. Come join me live. So anyway, I have been hearing a lot and getting a lot of feedback from people that they wanted to know a little bit more about me because I am apparently simultaneously terrifying and inspiring all at the same time, which I think is super awesome. So I wanted to talk a little bit. Oh my God, I just realized I'm not wearing my earrings. I've been wearing my crown earrings that Susan Hyatt bought me like ever since I left Savannah, and now they're not on and I'm sad about it. So I want to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. So for those of you that may not be familiar with the term imposter syndrome, it's actually this thing that almost all of us suffer from and almost all of us go through it. And it's the moment where you are doing something and you think to yourself, I'm so glad you're well, Shelly. And you think to yourself, well, you know, here I am doing this thing and there is no human reason that I should be standing up here doing this thing. And so as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the first time I ever really truly was asked to speak in public. Now, I did not used to love speaking in public. In fact, when I was in my high school speech and debate class in Park City, Utah, a class that, by the way, had like, I don't know, 15 people in it total. And all of those people I had known since 8th grade. Hey, Dreama! Oh, girl, I'm so happy to see you. How's France? So my very first speech and debate experience in high school, my teacher, Mr. Maddox, would have a garbage can for me so that I could get up and throw up in the garbage can, give my speech for speech and debate, and then run out of the room with the garbage can to go throw up again. So I was not a born natural public speaker. And in high school, even surrounded by people I had known since 8th grade, I was not only not a born natural speaker, but I would like throw up. And Mr. Maddox was such a good teacher. He's like, here's your garbage can, puke, do the speech, and then run out of the room. So the very first time that I was ever asked to give a speech, it is crazy. I hated speaking in public. So every time I have been asked to give a speech, I would be like, no, I'm not your person. You need this person. So fast forward, Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, is not a doctor or a PhD. I was just finishing my master's degree. So I decided to go, I barely made it out of high school. I mean, like, my grades were not awesome. I was kind of flailing all over the place. I finally finished my bachelor's degree. I decided to go get a master's degree because my grandma, like, talked me into it and said that she would help me with my tuition. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll go do that. I didn't think I'd get in to get a master's degree. I had no idea that they were going to let me in, but they did at the University of Utah. So yay, go me. And I was going to be a play therapist. And then I took my first policy class in my social work program, and I was like, woo, Lori! Hi, Lori, how are you? So I take my first class in my PhD, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do policy work. Like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a play therapist anymore. Screw play therapy. I want to do policy work. And it was awesome, and I was excited, and I was totally lit up about it. And so I asked my professor, I said, Professor Gross, Emma Gross, she wore Wranglers and Ropers, and she was kind of scary, but I loved her. And I said, Professor Gross, Dr. Gross, tell me, how do I become a policy person? And she said, oh, you're going to have to go to D.C. for that. But I didn't want to go to D.C. I loved Utah, and that's where I lived. So I made my own jobs. And one of the things that I did was I called this guy, Michael Mitchell, at Equality Utah. He was the executive director of Equality Utah, which was Utah's LGBT Political Action Committee. And I said, so I've been doing a lot of research on gay and lesbian adoption because we had an adoption ban in Utah. And I said, I would like to talk about that. Are you interested in that? And he said, yeah, we're having a rally at the Capitol, and I was wondering if you could give a speech. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, could you talk about what your research showed and what you've discovered in your research getting your master's degree? And I was like, I'm not that girl. He's like, well, didn't you just finish telling me you're getting a master's degree in social work and you just did all this research on gay and lesbian parenting? We need someone like you because all we have is men talking. So maybe you could come and be a woman and talk. And I was like, I don't think I should. Am I that person? And I'm looking around and I'm going, how can I be that person? So this is when my very first experience with imposter syndrome, where I was like, shit, not only are they going to want me to get up in the Capitol, but they're going to want me to talk in front of people at a rally, which means I have to be exciting. So I totally panic. I totally go shopping because that's what I do when I panic. And I bought a suit, which was one of the ugliest suits I think I've ever owned in my life. So this was like 2001 or 2002. I think it was 2002. And I bought the ugliest suit ever. And I bought a pair of Sensible pumps, which for anybody who knows me, like back then, Sensible pumps was not me at all. And so I bought this tan suit with like a off-white shell, and I wore all these pearls, like, because I had to be a little punk rock, so I wore like all the strands of pearls like I was Madonna, like a virgin all over it, only in a suit in the rotunda of the Capitol. And I typed out this speech, and it used to be that when I would do my speeches, I would handwrite them first. See that? Handwritten speeches, because I would be so nervous about giving a speech that I would handwrite everything first, because I was like so nervous about it. Lori, I love that you're laughing. That's nice. That's really awesome. And so here I am thinking I have no experience doing public speaking. The last time I talked in public, I was going to puke all over all of my friends in high school. And now I'm wearing a suit and I'm standing in the rotunda and there's hundreds of people. Not like 5 people, like not 5 gays that I knew, not like 10 people. Hundreds of fucking people have come to this rally and to listen to me talk. And I am completely out of my element. I'm sweating. I'm like, my makeup is running. I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I have completely lost my faculties. Nobody's going to want to hear me talk. They're not going to even, they're going to think I'm an idiot. Someone else knows this research way better than me. Oh my God, it's my turn to talk. So I'm like trying not to puke and my hands are shaking like this. And I'm walking up to the podium and I'm like, and I look and it's a podium in the middle of the rotunda of the Capitol in Utah. And it echoes. So when you talk loud, it echoes. And I don't know if any of you all have sat with me, which most of you have sat. I love that you're laughing, Lori. It echoes. I didn't need that fucking microphone because I'm so fucking loud. I like radiate all over the place, except for the fact that I totally needed the microphone because I was like, ah. So I did not throw up. Everyone here should know that I did not throw up like a virgin in pearls. Yes, dream up. Oh, Lori, I'm glad it sounds familiar to you. So I'm in the rotunda of the Capitol, and I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to talk, and my voice is shaking, and I'm not being loud. I'm like super being quiet, which everybody knows. Me now is not like that. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm just trying not to throw up, and I'm trying to move through it. And I think I gave that speech, and like they wanted me to go for like 4 minutes, and I think I gave it in like 2 minutes because I was like, gays should be able to adopt it. Gays should be able to adopt. This is all bullshit. Gays should be able to adopt. I didn't swear because it was the Utah Capitol. And let's be real. You can't swear in the Utah Capitol. It's not nice. And so I was like, and I'm done. And I left my partner sitting in the audience. I left all of my friends sitting in the audience. But what I noticed is that everyone was doing this. Yeah! Yeah! Yes! And I was so caught up. I'm glad you're loving my story, Becky, because I've been afraid to tell it all this time. Isn't that weird? And so I'm like, all I'm hearing is, yeah! And I'm walking out of the rotunda as fast as possible because I have to go to the bathroom and throw up. And I did. And I come back and everyone's like, Missy, where'd you go? And I was like, wiping puke off my face. I'm like, I just had to go to the restroom. I was a little nervous. And I realized in that moment that I can talk in front of others without initially throwing up. I realized in that moment that you should never wear an ugly ass suit to speak anywhere. And I realized in that moment that even though I thought I had nothing to say and that I wasn't an expert and I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, everybody thought I was. Everybody thought I was an expert. This was 2002-ish. So I was in my 20s. And everyone was like, can you tell us more about your research? And I was like, I don't understand what's happening right now, people. And I realized that imposter syndrome, that thing that makes us think we can't do it, is actually it's not real. And I realized it for a second, and then I totally forgot because all of these people started emailing me, and they wanted me to come talk to them, and they wanted me to do more in the community. And I was like, how is this even happening to me? How is this happening to me? Why do these people want to talk to me? Why are other people saying this? There's far smarter people than me. And that's the problem with imposter syndrome, is you can always make up that there is somebody else in the world that knows better than you do. And while that may be true, you have a version of the story that nobody else has. You have a version of your own truth that everybody needs to hear in the world. At that moment in time, when I gave that speech, all I wanted was to be a mom. And the Utah State Legislature, because I was with a woman, did not want me to be a mom. And that was the story that people needed to hear and know. Because I was in love with a woman, and I had to get inseminated with somebody else's sperm. And then I wanted that woman that I was with to be able to adopt that baby if I got pregnant. And the Utah Legislature said that that couldn't happen. That was my story. So I told my story and I brought in the research, and then I had people thinking that I was really good at this. And the whole time I thought, why are these people listening to me? But I didn't stop and do it. So I didn't stop and listen to the voice that said, be quiet. It actually made me get louder and louder and louder. And that's the problem with imposter syndrome. If you listen to the voice that says you don't know what you're talking about, you don't get your message out into the world that you have for the world. And every single one of us has something to contribute, especially now. I was talking to one of my coaching clients yesterday, and she said to me, you know, sometimes it's really hard to be with you because you sort of make us want to puke. Because you're so good at what you do and you're so on all the time that it's intense to be around you. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, but it's really great because you're super motivating and real. And I was like, well, thanks. That's awesome. And for just a hot minute, my little imposter syndrome was like, what business do you have helping people with their lives? What business do you have telling people, making people cry? Because I always make my clients cry. Any of you who ever decides to work with me, I always make you cry. What business do you have doing such things? And then I thought back to that woman standing at that podium in the Capitol with my ugly suit and my Like a Virgin pearls. Thank you very much. My Like a Virgin pearls and my sensible pumps and my pantyhose. My God, I was wearing pantyhose. And I thought, thank God I did not listen to that voice in the back of my head when I was standing in that Capitol Rotunda. And thank God I actually kept doing what I want to do. And I kept talking and I kept practicing, and it got easier and easier and easier. So I want you all to remember, I'm going to do a series of these. So there's 3 more coming. So you get to hear the next part of my story. My next part of my story after I did all that volunteer work for the LGBT community is all about how I got hired by Planned Parenthood, and then my public speaking really took off. So Dr. Bird, maybe get a doctor coat. Oh, I love that you shared that that article in about this today. That's so funny. I love it. I'm totally going to read that. Thank you so much. So for those of you who struggle with imposter syndrome, I would love to hear how you struggle with imposter syndrome. So you can type it in the comments or send me a message. I am going to do this again next Friday. So I hope you all will join me and bring more people in who you also know struggle with imposter syndrome. The real key is to just rip the Band-Aid off and do the thing, even if you have to run into the bathroom at the Utah State Capitol and vomit your brains out. I invite all of you to join me online at my website at birdgirlindustries.com. And I am super excited to announce that next Monday, at a special time at 2 p.m. Pacific, I am interviewing Dane Weeks, who is a Twitter activist, an LGBT activist, and the only person on Twitter who I think calls out the racism for people who are fighting between Hillary and Bernie still to this day. So I'm really excited that Dane's going to be on here live, because he's going to talk about, we're actually going to talk about all of these things. And so I'm super happy. Thank you for calling me brilliant, Lori. I'm totally doing the thing. Everybody's going to do the thing. And I hope that you enjoyed this little series of how Missy Bird overcame her imposter syndrome. And I love you all, and I will talk to you on Monday.